Hello everybody, it's here, it's time, it's finally time. Update 1.2.3 is here, and as usual we will be going through these patch notes and talking about what has changed in this newest update. I have some thoughts, I have some spicy takes here. I kind of disagree with the general Reddit community, the Doomer community here. I think this update is pretty good in a lot of ways, and I have some pretty negative feelings about a few certain things. But we're going to go through the patch notes to talk about what's coming, what is happening, and how it changes things. And at the end, we're going to talk about the new right to rule civilizations and leader and the price point, and we'll jump in the game and look at those. So stick around if you want to figure out Genghis Khan and Assyria and those things. First, let's jump into age transition improvements. This is something that I myself am pretty negative on, but it's something that the general community seems to want. They've added in this new continuity option on the age transition. The continuity option gives it makes it feel like older civs. Your units stay where they are. So if you finish an age with a bunch of units stacked on a neighbor's borders, when you start the next age, it will be there next time. You also get your settlers and merchants that you build at the end of an age. They also carry over. And that's the thing that I kind of disagree with here. Having these settlers carry over is just going to increase cheese. We're going to talk about that in just a moment, but it'll increase cheese and it's going to make the game feel, in my opinion, easier, which I don't want. And your yeah, so you know what, let's just talk about it now. What I don't like about this, continuity is now the default game mode, where all your settlers, your armies, your merchants, your ships and siege units, all of those things, they carry over into the next age without any sort of reset or change. And this is the default game mode that the devs are going to be balancing the game around now, and I disagree with that in particular. I don't feel like this should be the default game mode. I feel like they're sort of abandoning their idea for Civ VII just to please Reddit. This is going to make cheese so much more possible, and cheese is already so possible in Civ VII, and it's just going to get worse. So imagine that I'm playing at the end of Antiquity. I don't have anything to build. I'm playing Xerxes and I plan to move into like the Chola or whatever. So I just spend my time building like, you know, 14, 15 merchants, and they carry over and I can just improve my relationships on turn one with everybody on my continent, so there's no war pressure for me. Or I build, even worse in my opinion, a whole bunch of settlers, and I just dominate those Pangea, not Pangea, continent islands over on, you know, the little border islands. I just dominate those and I settle all those out on like turn 10. I settle like 5 settlements on those little islands, and then I just dominate every other civ. It's going to make the AI worse, and it's going to make the player a lot better. And I don't think that makes the game any more fun. I understand them putting this continuity option in, but I don't think it should be the default. I think they should stick to their guns on the Civ 7 like development feel. They want it to be different from other civs, and stick to your guns on this, and don't just flip-flop on this continuity thing. Or at least don't like just make it the units. Don't make it your settlers. Don't let settlers carry over. That's dumb. Don't let merchants carry over. That's really dumb. That's the biggest thing I'm like way down on, but it seems like the Reddit community is pretty up on this. We also get improved trade or improved relationships, which is okay. So what's going to happen is if you're like super positive, slowly over time your relationship will degrade, and if you're super negative, slowly over time your relationship will improve without having to do any action. This just makes like diplomacy not so static. They won't hate you forever. If Ibn Battuta declares war on me in the Antiquity Age, he won't hate me forever like he does now. They've also added end age warnings, like you get a 10-turn warning to say the age is ending. I like this. This just feels like the Civ 6. They just tacked on the Civ 6 era score tracker. And the game won't end before those 10 turns, no matter what you do. You could turn this off. I think this is the good part. You can turn this off You can turn it off completely here and just like auto end the age like you could previously. I wasn't a big fan of the like completing the legacy path at 89%, then suddenly boom, 2 turns the age is done. So I think this is a much better idea of like transition smoothing than the settlers, merchants, and all those things. This is a good way to smooth the transition over. And here are some things that I think are pretty good. Catapults and merchants are now available at the start of exploration. You don't have to research a tech for them. So like this, in my opinion, makes this useless. Don't let me cheese everything at the end of the era and stack it forward. Make me work for it at the beginning of the era and get merchants out. It feels more intuitive that way, I think, in my opinion. Catapults being available at the beginning of the exploration age is a big nerf to like the Normans. I think any like walled civ, but it's like a big buff to any like it's kind of buff Mongolia, I think. Any civ that was like ignoring wall, it's a big buff to Bulgaria. That's who it is. That's what I was thinking about. Because Bulgaria struggles to attack walls, and now you have catapults right at the beginning, so that helps. Independent powers now spawn at the beginning instead of like 2 turns later, which makes more sense. It makes more sense, and that's going to help stop the settler cheese, I think. But it's nice to have those spawn right at the beginning. If I'm playing like a big influence civ, we can get that done right at the start. So I think like these changes are good, and I think this 10 turn warning, could be 20 turn warning, is also good. I think the trade or improved relationship, sorry, is also good. But I really hate, like, I don't really even mind this, the units. I hate this. Settlers and migrants and merchants. I hate that because that's going to get cheesed so hard by like the online community. And the thing that I hate the most is that this is just the default. This should not be the default setting. All right, keep the what is it, regroup as the default setting, please, developers, please. They've also added in auto explorer. I don't understand why this wasn't in at the beginning. I'm not a game developer, so there has to be some reason, but it's good that they're back. You can auto explore with everything except for the cog, because it'll die to ocean damage, so that's really cool. Trung gets a new unique commander, and they've changed Trung pretty significantly here. She gets Trung Ni as her sister. Her sister is the new unique commander. She gets this unique model, which looks pretty good. And because of this, Trung loses the 3 free promotions to her first commander. Instead, she gets this Trung Ni, and it replaces the leadership tree, so you get everything except for leadership. I think leadership is bastion, assault, mobility. Leadership is the blue tree, so you don't get the blue tree anymore. So like zeal and all of that, which is kind of what I used Trung for earlier. I would just like get the 3 free commanders and get zeal and set it in a city. But Trung Ni, she gets some really strong promotions. 5 combat strength for tropical terrain. That's going to make the Khmer stronger. 5 combat strength for units in friendly territory is really good. 3 combat strength. This combines really well with Vietnam, which we'll talk about later. 3 combat strength for land units when adjacent to 2 enemies is really strong. 5 combat strength with coordinated attack and focus fire. You can stack up like, so let's say that we're in tropical terrain, in friendly territory, and adjacent to 2 enemies, and we use coordinated attack. Yeah, 5, 10, 15, 18 combat strength coming off of that. Or if we get attacked in friendly territory, in tropical terrain, that's 25 combat strength. So it's pretty nuts. She gets a lot of combat strength. She's going to be very powerful, and it's good that she's the only unique army commander that gets this. But in my opinion, the best thing about Trung Ni is she's a unique army commander, and this opens up the idea to getting like other unique army commanders that could just flavor things. Just like in Civ 6, we got the unique governor for Suleiman. Having more unique governors would have been better, I think. And so having these unique army commanders is going to be really interesting, and I would like to see, you know, more of them. I could think of like an American unique army commander that does that's a copy of Sherman, right? For that period of America that we're looking at. Or we could have like Washington or something as a unique army commander. So it would be really interesting to see more of this. I'm a little sad that Trung no longer gets the 3 free promotions, because that was such a flavorful thing. But I think this is an adequate replacement for it, and it doesn't really make her feel worse. It might even make her feel better. Now let's talk about these new features. Remember that the stars are community influenced items. The end of age countdown. We've already talked about this. I think this is pretty good. I like this. It makes things feel smooth. We've talked about Trung Ni. I think she feels pretty good. Makes things feel unique for Trung as a very tropical defensive bonus, so that's pretty good. What you can really do is you can declare formal wars and just defend and not really take anything, defend and get that science bonus the whole game, so that's pretty good. Now, several improvements to advisors. I never really got this issue. I've turned my advisors off, so this doesn't bother me in the slightest. They've removed a bunch of advisor pop-ups. Whatever. I really don't care much about this. Age transitions. I hate this so much. I want continuity to be the exception and regroup to be the standard. I like Civ 7, so I wish they would stop trying to make it Civ 6 and Civ 5. Just make it a better game. Just stick to your guns and make the game better. Catapults being available, merchants being available, and independence being available at the beginning is really strong. I like that. I feel like that's good. Diplomacy, there's a few fixes here. It's not so much. We've already talked about the improved relationship. That's okay. Here's the thing that I want to doom about a little bit. First, the Loic Hollow is now +1 culture from adjacent farms. That's the Hawaii improvement. I think it was food from adjacent farms, and now it's culture. That just makes Hawaii better at culture. That's a decent little buff. This right here is what I hate. Buildings now retain their full yields and maintenance costs across transition. I don't understand this. This is a community feature, and I think the community was super wrong on this. I think now the reason that those yields went away is to promote overbuilding and to plan compact cities and to stop the snowball, right? But now we just don't have that anymore. Why would I? Yes, the maintenance cost is the same, and I don't have specialist bonuses, but sometimes I'm building in cities that don't have good specialist adjacencies anyway, and so why would I get rid of their monument? Why would I get rid of their villa? Because that's giving me influence, the strongest yield in the game. Why would I get rid of the happiness buildings? Why would I get rid of the science buildings when I could just expand out further and put down more science buildings and more culture buildings and things like that? And what this is going to do, I think, they're like, oh, you lose adjacencies from specialists. That doesn't always matter. That doesn't always matter. In your capital, that's going to matter. In your first 2 cities, that's going to matter. But by the time you've got like 6, 7 cities out, it doesn't matter. You're going to just be building and building and building. And this is going to make the modern age already the shortest age in the game. Sometimes you could beat modern age by turn 50, turn 35, turn 40. And this is going to make the modern age so short. Think about the amount of science you're going to start with per turn. Like, what is the base on an academy? 4 science or something? Base on a university is like 7 science or something. So by the time you get to modern age, this is going to snowball so much that it's just going to make the modern age unplayable. I think it's going to make the modern age so short. I could be wrong, and I would like to be very wrong about this. I don't want to be a gloomy Gus about this, but I'm afraid that they haven't balanced this. What they need to do, and what they don't say if they've done this, is they need to make the techs and the civics in the modern age much more expensive now, if they're going to do something like this. But I don't think that they've done that. What a bummer. I really hate this change. But the Reddit community is like, all in, yeah, whatever I build stays the same. They just want to play Civ 6 or Civ 5, and I think that they should. instead of trying to make Civ 7, Civ 6, or Civ 5. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about that spicy take. I think Civ 7 has its problems, and we'll talk about what those problems are when I get down to the DLC. But I think the flavor of Civ 7 is good. I love Civ 6, I love Civ 5, I love Civ 4, and they're all different games. And they all play very differently, and I'm afraid that the community wants this to play like their favorite game instead of letting this become their favorite game. Leaders from the Crossroads and Right to Rule DLC now have their full legends. Yeah, why didn't this come earlier? I don't understand why they didn't just come out the box with the full kits. All the other, why don't they have Steam achievements? Come on, 2K, give me those Steam achievements. It's the easiest thing in the world to apply for a Steam achievement. New challenges for Right to Rule DLCs, Viet and Assyria, thank God. I think they're doing the DLC wrong, and I think that's the biggest problem with Civ 7. We'll talk about that in a second. But they're doing DLC wrong because they're releasing DLC civs, we're paying a premium price for them, and they're not coming with a full complement of what we would expect. A few miscellaneous changes. I love this. Future text in Civics no longer granting wildcard attributes and now giving a random attribute. I like randomness, and I want a little more randomness in this game. I wish I could choose a random memento chooser. I think wildcard bonuses are so strong, and attribute points are so strong. And this is going to make Eben feel better, because Eben is now like one of the only sources of wildcard attribute points in the game. There's a couple of wonders that give you wildcard attribute points, but Eben is like the source of wildcard points. And now he feels a lot more unique and fleshed out, because not Ada Lovelace can't just get 40 wildcard attribute points. Mayan and Incas can now pet their dogs. There's just a few things here, not too much I want to worry about here. And just some general UI changes. This is one of the best changes of the patch. We can now see the total number of yields needed for research or production. This is just going to help you with your choices on those narrative events a lot better. Now I know how much science it takes to research a tech, and now I know how much culture it takes to research a civic, how much production it takes to build something. This is fantastic. I don't know why it wasn't already in the game. There's just a few more entries here. There's not much. One of the bigger things is they've added more. Oh, they've stopped dead naming Susie Eddie Izzard. They've added Susie there now, so that they're properly named. They've added more voiceover, which is really important to me. Now Gwendolyn Christie voices over the leader text as well, not just the civilization text. Some more background sounds are really nice, and the music is a lot smoother, I think. I've played a couple of games. I think the music feels a lot smoother. So overall, like, a few good changes, some really good quality of life things, such as your yields being shown, and then some really bad things, in my opinion. I hate this so much. Buildings should not retain their full yields. And I hate the settlers and merchants transitioning across age. Now that could change. I could end up loving it, right? I could end up loving it, but please make continuity not the default. Make your game the default, Civ developers, not continuity. Now let's jump into the game and talk about what everybody wants to talk about: Genghis Khan and Assyria and Viet. Okay, here we are. Let's look at Genghis Khan first. I think the model looks pretty good. People are complaining a bit, I think, about the model, but I think the model looks perfectly fine. He's exactly what I would expect from a Northern Asian steppe archer. Looks pretty good. 3 combat strength for cavalry units, 5 win-in army commander radius. This is really good. I think these are a little boring, but honestly, the leader bonuses are pretty boring overall, and the civs are where things really get interesting. So you get really strong cav units, super strong cav units. Imagine him with Numidian cav. Army commanders have +1 movement even when no units are packed in them. This is something I really didn't even realize was a thing. Army commanders move slower without units inside them. And now his army commanders just move that fast either way, which is helping him get troops and generals. He's very general focused around the world. Army commanders can now use convert independence action to convert adjacent independent military units to your control. This is once per age. I don't know if it's per army commander. The way this is worded, I think this is a per army commander, but it could be just once per age total. This is a big buff to the early game. So you get discipline out early. You get your army commander, you go to the nearest hostile city-state, you convert their units, burn down that city-state. Now you have an army ready to go, packed into that army commander to go burn down your neighbor. And I think this is really a really strong ability, and I think I can see it being once per age total, but I feel like it's once per age per army commander. I haven't tried Jenis out yet to give it a shot. His mementos are interesting. They're not anything to write home about. -1 gold maintenance on cav units. Cavs are really expensive in this, but the problem is this is not per age. If it was per age, it would get pretty strong. It would get busted. This is just okay. This is like a good antiquity era memento to take. You also get +1 food per age per cavalry unit stationed on the town center. I think this has to stack in an army commander, so you can get 4 up to 6 in an army commander, so you can get 6 or 12 or whatever, 18 or whatever on a town center. This is the issue. If it was a city center, it'd be a lot better, but town center is just okay. Then we get this is what I think is the best. +1 culture per age for each commander promotion. This is, you're gonna beeline this, and you're always gonna take this in your military games. If you're going military, you need to unlock this, and this is a very strong memento, because think about it. In the antiquity age, it's very easy to get 2 or 3 commanders with their full assault tree done in, +1 commendation. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, +7. I think the commendation might count. 7 culture for a commander, and then get it across 2 in antiquity. That's 14, 3, that's 21. But then as you move through the age, this is going to just add up so much. I've moved into modern age with like 6 fully treed, 1 treed out army commanders, and that's what, 7 times 6 times 3, which is just an insane amount of culture. This is going to push you through fascism. This is going to get you through your ideology tree, so you can just burn the world down in the modern age. So I really like this. I think this is great. But isn't this the same as, like, where's artillery boy? Yeah, it's the same as this. So you could, is it exactly the same? 1 culture per age for every army commander level. For each commander promotion. But isn't that the same? But this can be stacked with commanders that get the free promotion, and I think, honestly, I think these are the same. We're gonna have to test these to see if they're the same, because I feel like there's no difference between this, just different wording. They need to pay attention to that. If they're the same, you play Baroque Freddy and use both of those, and you're just gonna own the culture tree. That's interesting. We need to test that out. If I can get Jenis to level 10 fast enough, we need to test that bad boy out. So overall, I think Jenis is pretty interesting. He's just what you would expect, though. Like, just burn the world down and attack everybody. He's going to be the new top war civ, I think. I don't think he's going to be better maybe than King Xerxes because of the settlement limit. But I think this is going to give him a run for his money. I think between Ashoka, Xerxes, and Jenis, we have some 3 super strong army commanders, and then we have good army commanders in some of these other leaders that are army focused. Also, I want to announce that I love these new icons. I think these new icons look great. Let's jump in and talk. No, not Simone. I want to listen to you. Let's jump in and let's talk about Assyria. Assyria is busted. Assyria is nuts. Okay, they're exactly the same almost as they were in Civ 5. Whenever you capture a settlement, you get a technology, but in Civ 5 it was balanced around the idea that it had to be a technology that the Civ had researched, but now it's just any technology. But you don't get codices from technologies, you get codices from conquest. So not only are you getting tech from cities, you're getting codices, which lead to more tech from cities. So this is so powerful, but we also need to talk about their unique stuff down here. The cav unit moves like a wheeled unit, which means it's fast except for in rough terrain. Can move after attacking, which means you can come out of a commander, attack, and jump back into a commander. The unique army commander gives +5 combat strength against districts. So you can come out, attack a wall, go back in, come out, attack a wall, go back in, come out, attack a wall, go back in. So you're able to attack with more than like 3 units at a time. You can attack with 6 possibly units at a time. They're going to be just destroying people. The Ikalu gives you +2 production for each great work in the settlement. And you're going to have plenty of great works. Which means you're just going to be like pumping out units. The Citadel 3 production, more production bonuses, 2 happiness if on flat terrain, which is going to combat the unhappiness you get from settlement, 1 production adjacency for wonders, an easy adjacency bonus to get. You also get 3 science on the Royal Library, 2 codice slots. All right, so that's +4 production automatically here. And then +1 science adjacency for rivers. We've never seen this adjacency before. I can't think of anybody that's adjacent to rivers right now. Rivers, and it's not navigable rivers. That's the important. It's not navigable rivers. It's just rivers, which is really good. So I think Assyria are going to be super busted. And let's jump in and look at Diviet as well. Diviet, I think, is also really interesting. 5 culture for each urban population when you construct a fortification constructible, which would be, you know, your walls or the Dershauer Kin. It wouldn't be available at that point, but you know what I'm talking about. Forbidden City. That would be a fortification. So +5 culture for each urban population, and that could be easily 5 times 10, 5 times 20. By the time you get to the exploration age. That's really powerful. This Tanhui is also like a really good wonder. We'll talk about it when we look at the game. The Void Chin is a really good elephant unit, +1 sight and +1 movement and stronger strength, and it's ranged. Also move after attacking. The Quanvong, which is, I'm gonna butcher these Vietnamese. I can't pronounce Vietnamese. Settlers, when this settler, it receives 5 culture for every tropical tile within 3 of the city center, a 1-time boost. And then the Water Puppet Theater, +4 food, 2 happiness if built on floodplains. 1 culture each time the settlement has received fertility from a flood, storm, or volcano. And your improvements do not get pillaged by floods. This is going to move really well into a Khmer, Vietnam, Siam game. It's going to be a really strong tech path or civilization path to go through. But overall, I don't think these bonuses are nearly as good as Assyria's bonuses, which means that the Diviet civics should be really good and Assyrian civics should be weak. But that's not the case at all. We're going to jump in a game and look at those. Here's just a quick showing that age transition is set to continuity by default. And I'm going to play on the channel on default for a while until I realize how much I hate it. And then I'll switch it back. There's also, you should also be able to see the turn timer. Do we have the turn timer? Yeah, end of age countdown is here. It's set to 10 by default. It can go up to 20 and it can go to none, but it defaults at 10. Just letting you see what the new standard that the game is going to be balanced around is. I hate this. Alright, so I've jumped into a game here to look at these unique civics for Assyria. Look at this, +1, +2. So +1, +2 settlement limit in here. That's pretty, I thought it was +3. Am I crazy? I might be crazy. Well, at least you have +2 settlement limit in here. Does Assyria get +1 in their base kit? Why do I think it was +3? Am I nuts? I could be nuts. Okay, well, looking at the civics here, we have some really strong civics. +1 settlement limit. The capital receives 2 culture for each tech mastery. Really strong. 1 science on fortification buildings. Combat strength when defending against ranged units, and a codex. You get 3 codices. That's what I'm thinking of. Here we get, when you capture a settlement, get a codex. So you have to get up here to get to that free codex on capture, but that doesn't take very long. And in my opinion, I think you skip these and you go right here, because you get the army commander from here, but you also get the army commander here. So instead of going into discipline here, you just go straight across here. This also gets you the royal library and the citadel, which are so strong. Down here we get 25% production towards buildings and wonders with a great work slot, and 2 happiness to science buildings. Here we get a settlement limit and 5 combat strength if they're in a command radius to your unique unit. We'll check the tech tree for that. And 20% science in cities not founded by you. Ooh, so good. And 3 production and food and settlements not founded by you. This carries over. It should be, I think, per age, but that might be really busted. But this does carry over, which can be really good if you're going for like a Mongolia or Prussia play, which Assyria is very, you know, incentivized to go down. We also get Der Shuriken as our associated wonder. People are really upset about this. They're like, why? I see the complaining. Why doesn't everybody get a unique wonder? Because there's not enough spaces for unique wonders in the game. I think obviously Der Shuriken is going to be theirs, and the Hanging Gardens is going to be Babylon, and the Emile Jong, the Emile Bell is going to be Shilla. I don't understand why people are so upset that they're not getting like brand new wonders for this. We are getting new wonders in this pack. We'll talk about those wonders. Let's go ahead and start talking about the wonders now. We are getting new wonders in this pack, but I don't think every new Civ that comes in the game should get a brand new wonder out the gate associated with them, especially if it doesn't make any sense. So the new wonder we get here in Antiquity is the Mausoleum. And the Mausoleum, my favorite wonder in Civ history. This Mausoleum is very different from Civ 6's Mausoleum. This is a cavalry bonus. So Genghis Khan is going to be building this, Mongolia is going to be building this, and it's at writing. So the AI is going to be building this. If you have Charlemagne in your game or Genghis Khan in your game, you're not getting this wonder. You're going to have to beeline this hard to get this wonder. This is the new Mausoleum Theodoric. The AI is going to beeline this like crazy. Because the first time a cav unit is destroyed, it respawns in the closest settlement at 25% HP. So basically you're getting 2 calves for the price of 1 if you let your calves die. Must be built on flat terrain adjacent to the coast. Those aren't difficult parameters to meet. The Bursa also does those things. You need adjacent to the coast, but it doesn't need to be flat terrain, so it's a little more particular than the Bursa, but I think it's a pretty decent wonder. It's a pretty good. Let's jump in here and look at this royal library. How many starts have you had that has a river that looks like this? I mean, this is pretty common, right? And sometimes you'll get like river going this way and a river going this way, and then this tile would be nuts. 6 science, 3 production, 2 happiness without a specialist on this tile right here. The Maya quarter doesn't compete with this anymore. I mean, the Maya bonus of getting the text is good, or the production is good, but this is just such crazy yields, and this is going to continue over into the next era. This 6 science, 3 production is going to continue into the next era. Well, I mean, it's unique anyway, but yeah, I think this is going to be the new 2nd or 3rd most strong uniques quarter in the game, and Assyria is going to be the new jam. They're going to be the new busted ones. Let's jump in and look at Diviet now. Looking here at the Diviet uniques, I think they're pretty interesting as well. I like this tree setup. I can't think of anybody right now off the top of my head who has this exact same tree setup, but it means you have to get all 3 of these before you can get to Churdan, and this is a nice, it's nice to see different variations of this. I know this is essentially the same as like boom, 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 but you can start with any of these 3, so it gives you better like starting choices, and I like that. You can start with this one, which gives you your Water Puppet Theater and the new wonder, the Tanhui, which is, in my opinion, the best wonder to come out of this pack, which is +1 specialist limit in cities with 7 current age walls. So if you spend your time building walls, you're going to get +1 specialist limit, and specialists are busted, right? Go Kamai and get Angkor Wat into Diviet and get the Tanhui, and you're going to be in play as Confucius. Oh my god, you're gonna have so many yields off of your specialists. It's not hard to get 7 current age walls. It's not hard to get 7 medieval walls in multiple cities, so that's nice. The mastery here gives you 2 food and water pump theaters if you have a grist mill, and then 10% growth in towns, which leads to more growth in cities. This gives you culture buildings receive 1 culture adjacency with tropical. That can be really powerful, and you get a relic. 2 culture on floodplain tiles, which don't get erased with the Kumai, which can be really good. And then 2 culture to food buildings and 2 food to culture buildings can be pretty powerful as well. That carries on into the later ages. Combat units receive 3 combat strength during formal wars. This is doubled in your territory. Very defensive. 50% production towards fortifications, which is going to help you get this. And 2 gold on fortifications with at least 1 garrison unit. That's also a lot of gold. Then you can get 5 combat strength when defending in fortified districts and 1 settlement limit. So you don't get a lot of settlement limit as the dive yet. You get less than most civs get. However, I don't think you're supposed to be very conquering. You're supposed to conquer as the Kamai, and then as the dive yet, you just grow and defend and just soak up all those extra yields. I don't think they're gonna be busted like Assyria is. They're not gonna like break the game or anything, but they're gonna be a solid A tier in my opinion. Maybe like Ming level. So solid A tier. I'm excited to give them a try. I think they'll be a really fun, interesting playthrough. We also want to talk about some of the new wonders. You also get in exploration, where is it, the Grand Bazaar? I think it comes with economics. Yeah, 2 gold, 2 resource slots, and then Homeland's treasure resources receive 3 gold. That can end up being quite a lot of gold. So that's 3 gold here. That would be 3 gold here, 3 gold here, 3 gold on this, 3 gold on this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 3, 21 gold, plus another 3, 24 gold. Just looking at the start that I have another 3. Wow, my god, think about how much gold we would get just from this start. But it comes right here in economics, and I am certain that this is going to be highly contested. Highly contested. So if you're playing like the sort of start where you are trying to go for gold, like Amina or Xerxes, Achaemenid, this is going to be something that you want, but it's going to be contested. It's going to be hard to get. I realize I skipped an exploration era wonder, the Wat Chengtong. 2 culture, 200 gold, and every time you get 2 culture and 200 gold every time you attain a great work. This is okay. This is okay. It's not something that I think is particularly crazy. It's basically, I mean, you can get a lot of gold out of this, honestly. Think about how many relics you get in a game. This can be quite a lot of gold. However, I think the culture needs to be boosted a little tiny bit. I don't remember where this is in the tech tree. I don't think it's very deep. It might be at piety, actually. I don't think it's super deep, but I should have checked. That's my bad. We're going to look at the last unique wonder added here. The Ubudia Mosque. 4 happiness, and improvements in this settlement receive 50% yield. And at this point in the game, this is just win more. At this point in the game, in the modern era, you're kind of just winning automatically. So it accelerates the win. I think it's going to be like every other modern age wonder where you just build it because you're building them all. You've got cities that have nothing to do, so you're just throwing this down and building it. I think it's okay. Not something that I'm particularly like amazed by. I wonder, this is in Malaysia? I wonder if they're going to add sort of a melee civ in here to a modern era. Well, I mean, we've already got Siam, but Malaysia and Siam are not the same place. I don't know who they would put in to associate with this wonder, but that's it. What do I think about the Right to Rule DLC? I think the civs are interesting, and I like that they're exploring different ways to do the Antiquity Ancient Library Legacy path. I think Dive Viet is a really good Vietnam civ. Cultural and defensive is the way they've always done Vietnam, which is interesting. But I don't agree with it being $30. I think $30 is way too much for something that you're only getting 4 total civs and 2 leaders out of. It feels like they're price gouging us a bit, and the worst part is we're not getting the DLC all at once. Why do I have to wait until September for Lakshmi Bai and Shilla and the Kajars? I want Shilla now. I've been waiting for Shilla for forever, and I paid like $120 for this game, and I didn't get the stuff that I paid for when it comes out. It's a little frustrating, and I hope their DLC model in the future is not to keep charging us full price for a DLC and then splitting it. That would be frustrating. But I'm not against the DLC civs. I do think that they're very powerful though, and need to be probably nerfed a little bit, but that's not going to happen. They have to be powerful to sell the DLC. So my opinions on the patch overall, there are moves into the right direction and there's moves in the wrong direction. There's a lot to love about this patch and kind of a decent amount of things to hate about this patch, so I'm kind of conflicted. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.